Squatting is one of the most essential and functional exercises seniors can do. The problem is that many seniors are a little intimidated by the word squat. In this video, I'll share 5 different exercises from beginner to advanced that will cover seniors no matter what their strength level. Now, I've gotten some interesting reactions when telling my patients that we need to work on their squatting. Sometimes my patients say, well, my doctor told me that I shouldn't squat anymore because, and then proceed to tell me about a variety of orthopedic conditions such as arthritis or spinal stenosis. I could go on a long rant here, but to keep us on track, I'll simply say that there is absolutely zero clinical research to support that advice. On the contrary, there is research suggesting that when a person loses their ability to squat, their life expectancy drops dramatically. Even if you have arthritis, building your strength is one of the best ways to help. The key is starting at the appropriate level and progressing to more difficult exercises as your strength increases. That is why these 5 exercises today will range from beginner to advanced and will help all seniors regardless of their current leg strength. You want to go through all 5, and when you figure out which one is challenging, this is where you want to start. Be sure that you are completing the exercises correctly and without pain. Every week or 2, try progressing to the next one until you can do them all. By the time you get comfortable with the final exercise, you should even be strong enough to confidently get off the floor without assistance, which is something that far too many seniors lack the ability to do. Let's get started. The first exercise in the progression are called bridges. You may have heard of these before, but they're a great exercise in building your hamstring and your glute strength, which is kind of like the building blocks of being able to do a proper squat. So you're going to start off laying on your back. You want to keep your abdominals braced the whole time. If you don't do this correctly, you'll end up arching your back, and we don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul and hurt our backs while we're trying to build our strength. So feet kind of shoulder width apart, out from you just a tiny bit, tighten the stomach, use the glutes to push the hips towards the ceiling, get as straight as you can. If your hip flexors are tight, you might feel a little stretch in the top. You should feel the butt squeezed, and you shouldn't necessarily feel the back arching. A lot of people try and go too high there, and they go that extra inch, but they did it all with their back and not with their glutes, which are what you're supposed to use. Bring it back down nice and slow, and do that about 10 times, 2 to 3 sets. At the top, you want to feel a good squeeze, hold it for a second or 2, and lower it down slow. If this becomes easy, then I'm going to show you a progression to make it a little bit more challenging before you get to the second exercise. That progression is, once you get up to the top, kick your legs straight without dropping, and then lower yourself down nice and slow. Bring your foot back down, bridge up, kick your other leg out, and bring it down nice and slow. Repeat that each side 5 times. Next exercise, or the second progression, are wall squats. What I did is I put a chair in front of me. You're going to find a nice smooth wall. This one's a little bit textured, but that's okay. As long as it's slick and you don't feel like you're getting hung up. You want to sit back against the wall, walk your feet forward. This is important because if you don't walk your feet forward, then you'll end up with your knees over your toes when you squat. Pull the chair back, angle your toes out just a slight bit, and start to slide down the wall. You want to get down the wall as far as you feel comfortable. Your legs will start to feel heavy, even start to burn a little bit, and hold it there. Count to 5, and then push back up. Every time you do it, you want to try and sink a little bit deeper until you really know you're pushing yourself to your limit. And if you happen to push yourself beyond your limit and you feel like you cannot get back up, all of a sudden that wall gets kind of sticky and you've gone down too far, that's why the chair is here. You're going to hold on to the chair, lean forward, bring one foot behind, and push yourself up. That way you don't have to end up going down to the floor and trying to get up from the ground. You want to do this exercise 6 to 10 times or until you feel a nice burn, fatigue, not pain, but just fatigue in your thighs. And take a little break, repeat that 2 sets. The third exercise in the squat progression are countertop squats. Now, this countertop set up perfectly for me because I can actually hook my fingers around the back of it. A good place that works well if you don't have a bar top or something where you can reach the back side of it would be your kitchen sink. If you stand in front of that, it actually lets you reach around and hook onto that. You can do the same thing. So I have a chair behind me. If you don't feel confident doing this for the first time, then put that behind you, because if you end up having to sit down, then the chair's already there waiting for you. You're gonna hook your fingers here, get your feet nice and wide, shoulder width apart, and you wanna make the first move going back, almost like you're putting a little bit of weight behind your fingers. Don't go so much that it feels like you're about to pull yourself off the countertop. Just maybe 5 pounds of force. 5 pounds of force back, and then sit with your butt going backwards until you reach about 90 degrees at the hips, maybe a little bit less, and come back up. Down nice and slow, and come back up. Because your weight's going backwards, you're putting a little bit more force on your glutes, which is what we want, and taking a little bit off of your thighs, because the next progression's going to target your quad muscles a little bit more. You want to do a set of 10 if you can. Stop just shy of 10 if you start to feel too tired. And with a break in between each set, do 2 to 3 sets. The fourth progression of the squats are just regular sit to stands. I had a chair behind me. The only difference between the countertops and the sit to stands is now I don't have anything to pull myself up. Now, yes, you can still use the arms of the chair if you need it to push yourself up, but you're not going to be pulling yourself up, which is always a little bit easier. You should be able to stand up from your chair without pushing at this point if you've mastered the countertop squats, but there's a possibility that you may need just a few pounds of pressure to get yourself through that most difficult part of this exercise. You want to scoot forward in the chair. You want to make sure that your heels are kind of tucked underneath a little bit, just a tad. Make sure your feet are about shoulder width apart, and you want to get a nice hinge at your hips. So my back is staying straight, but I'm hinging forward, which is going to bring the weight in my chest over my feet. Because when I push down through my feet and lift my butt off the chair, my base of support is going to be my feet. So I have to have my center of gravity or my weight over my toes or my feet. So a good weight shift forward at the same time as you're pushing down through the floor is going to propel you up from your chair. You want to think about being nice and powerful there. You don't want to go slow. You want to go kind of fast. And then on the way back down, you want to stick your butt back, hinge your chest forward, which is going to keep you nice and balanced, and then sit down controlled. So slow on the way down, fast on the way up, and you're going to build your power, and you're going to work on your control. You've mastered the squat already with the sit to stand, which is essentially a squat. Now I actually want to put a little bit more load on a single leg individually. So instead of doing a single leg squat, we're going to do a lunge with the countertop, and I have a chair on the other side. You could also turn 2 chairs around and have chairs on both sides, but you want to have something to help yourself up if you need it. I'm going to bring my foot behind me pretty far, so my heel's back behind my body, and I want to bring my other foot out in front quite a bit, so I have a nice wide base in between. I'm going to go straight down until I feel a lot of pressure and back up. If the trailing knee feels like it's too much pressure, then hold on and bring your foot back a little bit further. You really want to feel the majority of your weight on this front foot. So squatting down and back up. Using just enough help with your hands to get through the hard part without getting stuck and without struggling too much. Do that about 10 times, and then you'll switch. I'll show you one more time. Foot out in front, get the back foot way behind, and straight down and back up. Once you get strong enough to where you don't need to hold on, you can do it without holding on. And as long as my knee's not flying out over my toes, you're probably not going to feel knee pain. If you do have a little bit of knee pain, maybe you have had a knee replacement or you have some arthritis, just tweak your foot position a little bit, get that foot a little bit further out in front or a little bit more to the side, and see if you can find a place that doesn't hurt that knee. You want to go to 10 reps or until you get nice and tired. And like I said, repeat 2 to 3 times. I don't expect everything to be smooth sailing. Because we're all unique, dealing with different health issues, you may hit a snag here and there. I try and get ahead of this by pointing out some of the common complications our patients struggle with every day and giving some pointers on how to deal with them. However, feel free to leave us a comment with any issues you have, and I'll do my best to help you through them. Another great option would be to find a good physical therapist and do a few sessions with them. And not just the one that wants to put a hot pack on you and do some basic table exercises. Those are the ones that give our profession a bad reputation. Find one that actually knows how to work with your functional strength. Building your strength will open up your ability to do so much more in life and live longer. So if you enjoyed this video, I think you'll enjoy learning a little bit more about how to improve your balance. So check out this video. Until next time.